to the USA in 1983. She was married right here in New York City by Hindu rites and relocated to Florida. Along with her husband in 1989, they went to the Sunshine State. Now, while in Florida, she attended the University of Central Florida and graduated with a bachelor's degree, major in accounting. She continued on towards a post-graduation degree and obtained her MBA. She is also a licensed CPA. Ms. Boodram is divorced from her former husband, an alcoholic, abuser, and is a single mother to her two children, a son, 20, and a daughter, 16. She made the bold decision several years ago to advocate against domestic violence in our communities globally, using her personal stories and experiences. As a result of her experience, she published her story in her book, Breakout: Surviving Abuse and Alcoholism. This is my story. As well as a documentary, Voice of a Survivor, which has been used primarily to educate and to bring awareness on the topic domestic violence platform. Her foundation, CADVA, Caribbean American Domestic Violence Awareness, has been doing work in various parts of the US and Caribbean to help combat this epidemic. Ms. Boodram embraces her Hindu culture and tradition while standing up and advocating against domestic abuse in order to bring an end to this epidemic by breaking her silence and redefining social expectation on the platform of abuse. This is a very serious topic. There are many different types of abuse that she will talk about. We have, number one, I would think is wife abuse, right? When you hear about abuse, the first thing, a man beating up his wife. Well, let me say this, as I always induce this in my katas. No man have the right to hit a woman, and no woman have the right to stay and take it. You wouldn't agree with me? That is number one abuse. We have child abuse. We have parents abuse. And don't you think we have husband abuse too? Women are beat wife too? So these are all the domestic violence. We will discuss about it. It is a very hot topic, and we have the right person with great experience to deliver that. Without no further ado, I would like to distinctly welcome on the mic Ms. Sukree Boodram, all the way from Florida.
Thank you, Panditji. It is an honor to be here. I've been looking forward for this event from Bhaiji Patanjali for, I would say, Patanjali since last Christmas. Am I correct? At the Indo-Caribbean book launch at the Queen's Public Library. So I've been looking forward for this event for a very, very, very long time. We've done a lot of events over the past several years, and but this was one that is closest to my heart because I am Hindu. I struggled with being Hindu and having to separate myself and basically foregoing the vows I took. And my mommy sitting right there, she was the one when I got married. I got married by Hindu rites right here in Corona, Queens, New York. So without going much into that, I just want to get into, I can tell you this, that I really can't promise you that in my 12 minutes of fame that I'm going to eliminate domestic violence, all right? Because as far as I can remember, it's been around me, been with me, and has haunted me and caused a lot of sleepless nights. So what I wanted to say, and I normally don't speak from written materials, but because this is so important, I took the time to get some information to you. So I want, from time to time, you'll see me look down, so please don't take offense to it. Who am I? I'll tell you a little bit about myself, and I don't need to go back into what Pandiji, he did a great job with the introduction. I'm a woman today whom I choose to be, not what my society or my culture determines that I should be. Thank you very much. When I was about to get married, I was 20 years old, and I have a lot of family and a lot of supporters here today. And 2 months before my wedding, I was supposed to get married in October. I went to, I told my then to-be husband that I can't go through with the marriage because he was then starting to be verbally abusive. So I separated. He went to my brother's house right in Corona, and my mother came back with him. And my mother says, "No, gal, you have to marry him. You sleep with him, nobody gonna want you." Right? This is 20 years old. We grew up in a culture where if you're with one person, you kind of have to keep what happened kind of quiet, right? Because you can't let people know. It'll be embarrassing. You've lived with him, you're getting married, you got to go through with it. So it took me 21 years to go through that and say, you know what, I had enough. Like Panditji said, it's a choice. I choose not to tolerate abuse. So that's who I am, to define the woman I would choose to be. So I'm going to ask a couple of questions, right? You don't have to answer. How many remember their parents fighting when they were little? You don't have to show your hands. How many are in relationships that are not happy? You don't have to answer. How many lie about their current relationship? I'll be the first one to raise my hand, okay? Because I made up some stories, believe me. But today I'm going to start out with a quote that says, and Gandhiji is one of my mentors along with my father as I started this project. He says, "You may never know what results come of your actions, but if you do nothing, there will be no result." Who knows the definition of insanity? Ms. Sukree? CADVA member, supporter, friend, sister? Insanity is doing the same things over and over and expect a different result. Okay? So I did the same things for 20 years over and over, and I prayed really hard, and I did that over and over, but nothing changed. That was insanity. I also learned this the other day as I was thinking, what was something I could say? And with this conference, and I will quote, I'm a 5-year member of an anonymous program that supports the families of alcoholics, addicts, and narcotics, and I support my community on a regular basis. One of the things I live by is called courage and fellowship replaces fear. And a quote from Survival to Recovery, growing up in an alcoholic home. Courage. Without fellowship and without support and without breaking our silence, we cannot develop courage. With courage comes hope. When we have hope, we have dreams. Victims usually lack courage, lack hope, and lack dreams. I did. So I've heard a lot from the keynote speaker and several people quoting the Law of Humanity, Manu Smriti. I attempted to read the Sanskrit, but in the essence of time, I'm going to pass. But I will read from you a verse from chapter 3, verse 56, and I'll read it very slowly. Where women are honored, there the gods are pleased. But where they're not honored, no sacred rites yield reward. I've asked the question before who was in the room of Baiji Prasad. Domestic violence is one of the most pervasive atrocities against humanity. Guyana is on the map on the UN in a division of the UN called the Situation as one of the leading countries in suicide, one of the